You're listening to the Be Forever Cool podcast. My name is Rex45. We got Louis Ortega in the building. What's going on, Louis, man? How you doing tonight?
Good, man. How you doing? This twice in 1 week, man. I'm seeing you too much now.
I know. It's either good things or you got a lot of time on your hands. I don't know.
Nah, trying to keep it busy and take advantage of opportunities when they arise.
No, I agree there, and tonight is a special one, and I'm glad for the opportunity as well. And let's bring our guests in with no further ado, because we got to get this thing going. Welcome Bobby Fong to the show. Welcome to the show, Bobby. How you doing tonight?
Hey, thanks, boys. Thanks for having me. It's good, man. It's good. It's good to be. It's good to be on here with you guys. I've been watching you a little bit, so it's good to get chatting away with you guys.
Nice. Likewise, we've been watching you on the racetrack, so not quite the same speed for us, but at least we're checking each other out, which is most important. So let's get into this thing. Louis, you want to kick it off and ask the first question?
Well, I mean, first I'd like to give a little background on Bobby. I mean, I've known Bobby now for a long time. I mean, there were no gray hairs on you at all when I first met you. So, just a quick little recap. I mean, obviously you've been road racing in MotoAmerica when it was DMG. And were you racing when it was just regular AMA road racing, or did you start when it was DMG?
Yeah, no, I started when it was AMA. I started in 2007. I was 15.
Wow.
15 years old. Yeah. I've been at it a long damn time.
Yeah. Well, throughout the years, obviously you've been on a lot of different equipment. You've done a lot of different things. And, in the last few years, we've seen your career take like a couple of drastic turns. One didn't look so good. And then all of a sudden, you were kind of jumping around on different bikes, and like, how'd that all happen, man?
Man, it's been a roller coaster of a career, man. I've been on so many different teams and bikes over the years. I've had to do it a few times actually. After 2010, I was racing for a DNA Ducati team, and we had a great year. Won some races, got on the podium multiple times. I thought I was going to be with the team in 2011. Didn't end up getting a ride in 2011. I had to get a day job, basically putting up commercial doors and residential doors. Any type of door, we put it up, install it, all this stuff. So I had to get a job a few times, and then got a ride again in 2012, and then raced 2012 all the way up until 2021, and then that was at M4. And then in 22, I had to get a day job. It was with Alpine Stars. No, sorry. I forgot about it. I worked for Piaggio too in 2018, 2019. I totally forgot about that. Yeah. So I didn't have a ride in 2018 as well. I had to get a job with Piaggio. I was at Northwest Sales. They call it Northwest Sales Manager, just a rep. And then I rode for John Ulrich and Chris Ulrich for a few years. Didn't get a ride in 22. Got a job at Alpine Stars for a little bit, doing the racer support. And then that didn't work out so long because Gabrielli at the time wanted me to just pick the job. And I got a bagger ride that year too, so I was doing some select bagger races. And that progressed the bagger stuff, and it started getting really big in 22. And Alpine Stars just said, "Hey, man, you can't race. You got to pick the job, or pick racing." So I picked racing, and then that's when Dainese, you helped me out and got me the job at Dainese and did the racer support with you guys, and that kind of, I learned a lot, and then I got a superbike ride while still working with you guys, Dainese, and then that progressed in the factory ride, man. It's all the rest is history.
Wow, so the last 3 years have been the last 3 years have been pretty exciting for you then.
Yeah, no, it's definitely got a little job experience. Been good on the racing side. Got my dream, factory ride that I've always wanted. So that's been really cool. A good experience. We had a great year this year.
So
yeah.
What kept you motivated in the early years? Going, having a ride, having to find a regular job and getting a ride and stuff like that. Like, what kept you motivated? Because we see a lot of guys and women, they put in their retirement papers.
It's I've been racing a motorcycle since I was 4 years old. So it's like, it's kind of the only thing that I really know how to do good in my, and basically it's like when racing gets taken away, it feels like your identity, gets taken away. So it's like, it feels like there's something missing. It's as weird as that sounds. It's just like when racing gets taken away, it's like you don't even know who you are anymore. So all I know is racing, really, because that's all I've been traveling, the world by myself since I was 16. So when you don't have racing, it's just you lose a part of your life, and but it teaches you. You got to work for what you want, obviously, and you got to give it 100% because it could be over tomorrow. And I know that feeling when it's over. It's a terrible feeling. Getting a day job and knowing that you're not racing a motorcycle anymore is a shit feeling. It's a shit feeling. But we all got to do it at some point. We're not, American racers, we're not making $1 million, multi-million dollars every year. So we at some point, we're all going to have to get a job.
Right.
So.
No, I agree there. No one likes to go back and go to work.
No.
And what was that transition like? Like you were on the wrench team, you ended up the number one Yamaha that year in points. Was this something that was kind of pre-written that you were going to go to Yamaha, or again, it was just kind of an opportunity that presented itself?
Honestly, it was an opportunity that presented itself because there was rumor. So we had a good season in 23 with the wrench team on the R1. We had a great season, won some races, a lot of podiums, third in the championship, or second or third. Well, yeah, third, I think. And how did it work out? So basically, there was a rider leaving Attack. I heard Cam Peterson was going to leave Attack, or they were going to let him go, or something like that. So I called Yamaha and just told them, hey, I'm available. If the ride opens up, and please give me a call. And I bugged for a while. And I definitely wasn't even on Yamaha's, top 3 list. Like there was a few guys ahead of me, and they turned it down because they had a different deal or a better deal, or thought they had a better deal. And I was 3rd or 4th on the list, and I just got really lucky, believe it or not, to get the ride. Like I wasn't going to get that ride, but I kept bugging and calling people to see if I got the ride and trying to sneak an answer out of Richard Stamboli, but he doesn't make the final decision. So it was very stressful a few months after the season, if I was going to get that ride, because I've been working my whole life to get a factory ride. I never had a factory ride before. So I was stressed out every day because then I heard that they were going to sign Cam Bobier, and then he turned it down, and then it was going to be SDK, and then he had something else going on at the time. So really, I just got really lucky. I mean, yes, I felt like I earned the ride for sure for my results in 23. I felt like that was the right thing that Yamaha could do, is give me, since I was a top Yamaha in 23. But I really just got lucky, to be completely honest. And I made the best of it. Well, I tried to make the best of it, But we fell a few short this year.
Is it normal for riders to reach out to teams for ride and stuff like that? Or is it just at the point this is how the grind is for you?
No, man, fuck, that's the normal thing. Every year is a race, dude. You're always making those phone calls. You're stressed out. You don't know if you have a ride. And then even if you think you have a contract, if a team goes bankrupt, what are you going to do? It's such a stressful career. I never had a 2-year deal ever in my career. I've never had a team that I signed a contract that it was a 2-year deal. So every year I'm on a high stress alert. This year is a little different. Like my contract now is like if I get top 3 in the championship, it's an automatic renewal. So it's my option, obviously. So it's kind of like a 2-year deal, but not really. I could still say no. But that's the closest thing I've ever got to a 2-year deal. But so yeah, every year you're on high fucking alert, whether if you're gonna get a ride, you're just making phone calls to everybody in the industry and trying to get something. But everybody, it's like high school. Everybody always talks like, it's a small world. You know what I mean? So everybody kind of knows everybody's business, but everybody always says something different. So you just don't know what's the truth. But it's very stressful in the off season.
So between the phone call and the time you got the confirmation, what was life like for you?
Oh man, it was when I found out I got the ride, because you still have to train too in the off season, right? Like, because no matter what, you still gotta train. So like every day you're just training. You're like, fuck, what am I doing this for? I could just be sitting on the couch, you know? So you still got to have that motivation, like whether you get a phone call or not. So I was on a bike ride when I finally got the phone call. It was like, hey, you know, they're going to send you the contract. And I was literally on the phone at Richard Stamboli on my bicycle and stopped to look at my email to send they sent the contract over, it was like amazing. And then all my training sessions got a little bit better because you had a little bit more motivation to do better, you know? So that was, I think that was in November, December last year. Yeah, or this year, sorry. No, last year. Yeah, November, December, I found out.
So they
I still had a month or two.
Yeah, so they stretch it out quite a while because the end of the season is September, so that's a few months of stressing for sure.
Yeah, no, it was, dude. It's so. I mean, it's I've aged just in that little period of time. It's brutal.
And your first year on the factory Yamaha team, you know, did you expect to have the success that you had coming off of the wrench team, or did you expect to maybe be the second rider? Because obviously Jake's been there a long time, and he knows the bike better than anyone. Like, what was your expectations when you first arrived at the team?
Well, Attack in 23 didn't do so hot. Like, for whatever reason, I don't know, bike setup or riders, I'm not really sure. But the results weren't as great as years past. So, and then everybody's, you know, saying that the Yamaha was, you know, outdated and, you know, and then, you know, Ducati and the BMW came in right away and just started doing really good, you know. So going into Attack, I didn't really know. Of course, I knew we were going to be battling up front, but I didn't know it was going to be as consistent as what we have been. The team has done a good job to elevate that Yamaha for sure, but just because of the Ducati and the BMW were new bikes, you know, the Yamaha is an older model bike. So I didn't really think that, I mean, I did know like we were going to be battling up front, but I didn't think it's consistent as we were for sure. Like there was some races where it was like, you know, it was really close with the Ducatis and BMWs at tracks that, you know, that I shouldn't have been up there with them. So, but like I said, I knew it was going to be battling up front, but not as good as what I thought.
When did you think you had that moment, that epiphany that it's like, hey, wait a second, I'm actually really fast on this bike? Like, is there, because I know for me, I know exactly when I was like, oh man, yeah, Bobby's not supposed to be doing that. Why is he doing that? And it's like,
yeah. So, man, so I'm trying to think of the season, dude. It's weird. Like, I try to look back at the season. There's not many races I remember. It was like this year, like it's so weird. This is like the first year, like I'm so in this like little bubble. So like I can't even think of. It's kind of bad and good because I would get off. Let's just say if I won the race on Sunday, it's like I don't even remember the feeling. It's hard for me to enjoy it because all I'm thinking about was how to be better the next day, or I got to do it again the next day, or the next race, or something like that. So it's weird. Like when I think about the season now, it's a lot of it's a blur. But I knew like during testing in the winter, like we always tested this podium club. I knew like I was really consistent doing some fast lap times for that place, and I knew I was like, man, it could be a really good year. You know, just the consistency, and each time we tested, it was. I've never experienced it. Each time we tested, we got faster and faster. The bike got better and better. So it was like the team had the drive to make the bike better each time we went on track, which is really like that's super cool of Stamboli. Like, you know, that dude is going to work every day, even during the season, to try to make that bike better. And he did. And it got even better from the beginning of the year to the end of the year as well.
Right. So, how does the factory team compare to the non-factory team from previous years, as far as just the bike itself?
So one of the things that being a factory rider is the testing. The testing is like, man, the testing is key for, you know, to get the bike developed around you and to try different parts and stuff like that. Most privateer teams test once or twice before the season. We tested like five 2-day tests before the season. And then just the constant development on the bike. You know, he's always trying to get something from Europe, which Europe I don't think helped out too much last year. It was more just all in-house, Richard Stamboli and his crew there. But it was just the constant development of the bike. One weekend we have a different swing arm, or one weekend we try a different tank. You know, it was, you know, different motor spec, a few different motor specs. So that's like the perks of being on a factory team. They're always developing, and they have, you know, the budget to do so. When you're on a privateer team, like they're doing their best they can, but you're not going to test a lot. And the bike is basically the bike for the year usually. You know what I mean? They're just scraping the funds to get it to the track, So that's the little different thing about factory team is you're always developing, you're always trying to improve, and then they have the budget to do so. And we even did during the middle of the year, we even tested at Mid Ohio because the Yamaha's struggled there really bad in 23, and we're like Yamaha's like, well, we need to test there. So we ended up testing there, it's just all these little perks like that, which are super cool.
Was that an easy transition for you to change your mindset from having a bike that you don't have to change all year to, every day it could be a different thing you might be trying?
The mindset was, I was always excited. I like to try it. I like testing. Most people don't like testing. I love testing because I like to see little improvements in what makes a bike better or not. Now it was from transitioning from my ADR bike to the factory bike. It was a pretty easy transition, even though the characteristics of the motorcycle was all still there, so I knew that already. But everything was different on it. Different swing arm, different motor spec, different gearbox. The ergonomics a little bit. The seating position was a little bit different on the factory bike. Some positive, some negative. But the mindset was I was always excited to ride the thing. You never knew. And going into race weekends, they have so much data. They already knew the gearing to the racetrack. They already knew what spring weight we want to run, just from years of development on that bike. So that was key as well.
Another thing that I noticed from you this year is riding in the rain. You're usually not known as a wet weather rider, but the couple of rain races this year, you actually did really, really well. What was it about the team or the bike that gave you the confidence to go out there and ride?
Honestly, dude, I didn't really believe it. I thought it was snake oil for a while when Richard always talks about on his little podcast he does about how good of a rain bike he makes, for the rider. And I didn't believe it until I actually at Barber this year for race 2. It was soaking wet, but for morning warm up, it was just pissing down rain. And that was the proper first day I got on his bike in the wet. And I was P2 and warm up behind Jake. I'm like, holy shit, this setup is so good. It just made you feel comfortable. It was as much as most people just soften up and, turn down the power of the motorcycle and add TC. It's a lot more than that for attack. They change geometry, they change a whole bunch of shit. I don't know what they changed, but it makes you feel comfortable. So, yeah, it was something because usually I'm scared to death. As you know, you could spit on the track and I'm, putting on the brakes. You know what I mean? So, but no, the bike and the team, how their setup made the world of a difference.
And so now you get through the season. For me, it felt like Laguna Seca was a big turning point because you killed that weekend. You just showed up and nobody really thought you were going to do much that weekend, but you really took it to the two guys that everybody thought was going to just walk away with the entire series. And that was the turning point for me. And then from there on out, there's a point where you obviously became the points leader. What was it like, your first time being the points leader in Superbike?
Well, it was, so the Ridge was before Laguna. Mm-hmm. And the Ridge, I really struggled there. We struggled as a team there. But after going home from the Ridge, I ended up going to my wife's family place in Canada for the week. It was a week before Laguna, and I was just, man, I couldn't even sleep. I was just that weekend really woke me up. I'm just man, we have to get our shit together, because the Ridge was a real struggle, and I'm really hard on myself, more than the average person, to an unhealthy way, So going to Laguna, I'm I can't have this feeling anymore. The feeling of getting your ass kicked that bad at the Ridge. I was I can't have this feeling anymore. It was terrible. It was somebody killed my dog. So we got to Laguna a little extra motivated, and I usually struggle at that place. So we did our homework, and I'm just I never want to feel that feeling again. So we just went out and did as many laps as I could. We used tires. and just put my head down every single lap. I made it count in practice, and it paid off for the races. And then we ended up getting a points lead not long after that. And dude, that was super cool. But you try not to think about the pressure, about the points lead. You always try to say, like, in your mind, like, yeah, I'm not going to worry about, the championship, take it race by race. But it's always in the back of your head, like, man, I want to keep this lead. You know what I mean? And it is added pressure for sure. Like, but we all have to deal with it. But it is added pressure.
What was your mindset like at, from a spectator and talking to folks? It's, we had tracks where they'll say it's Ducati or BMW track and stuff like that, and tracks where they say the Yamaha is the bike. The tracks where it seemed like Ducati or BMW was supposed to do well, you were able to come and say steal and get some points there. What was that mindset like? We talked to Reese. He didn't give us much, but we talked to him just to try to get an idea. What is the motivation like for you guys, just based on past history of what bikes have done at the track prior?
There was 2 tracks this year that we knew for sure going into it, like, okay, we might be, battling for third here. One was MotoAmerica and COTA. MotoAmerica, in practice and qualifying, the BMW and the Ducati was literally a second a lap fast, probably more than a second a lap faster in qualifying than I was going. But in the race, we're actually pretty damn close, which after MotoAmerica, I'm like, wow, if I stayed this close, at least in race 1, I was close. If I stayed this close at this track, I mean, we're going to be sitting good, going to Dakota, because we knew those are the 2 like long straights, where those bikes going to open up. And it's crazy. In World Superbike, they have restrictions on the bikes. Here in America, they're full tilt, so they're full gas. So like the speed of those things are unreal. And then going to COTA this year, it really surprised myself because I didn't think, like, at least what Bobby's qualifying lap, I was like, fuck, he's going to be in a race of his own, and then we are to keep him on his toes, for race 2. So it was more than expected for sure to get a second and third out of there. I thought for sure we'd just be battling for third, but we kept it close, and it was super cool, and it gave us more motivation going into New Jersey, which was a lot tighter track for us.
And obviously Jersey was like the end of the season. There were 3 races that weekend. Again, the points were pretty close between you and Cam Beaubier. Like, it wasn't you didn't go in there with a massive lead that you could just, kind of sit back and relax and expect to win the championship. And the first race on Sunday, you won, and you won pretty handedly. Like, once you got past the traffic and you were able to just put down your laps, like you really did show that you had extra pace that nobody else had. Like, What was that like on that Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday. So that was, we always kind of know all year long. I'm always, once it gets like 10 laps in, like I've been this kind of way my whole career though, not just the bike. Always at the end of these races, I'd find an extra gear, or I could just stay the same pace. You know what I mean? Where some racers drop off pace, and we knew that weekend for sure. Like, once the tires go away, I'm sitting pretty good. Like, I have the confidence that at the end of these races, like, I have some pace. So we won it on Saturday, but again, dude, like, I don't even remember the race. I can't even tell you how I felt on the podium because all I was thinking about, I had so much pressure behind me. Like I said, the pressure is normal, especially for a championship weekend, but I had so much pressure around me for the championship from all different directions. I just was such in a bubble. I don't even remember. Like, I got on the podium and all I was thinking about was like, fuck, I got to do 2 more races on Sunday. 2 more races, which, fuck, going back, I was such a stressful week. It's stressful 2 race weekends, COTA and New Jersey, because it's like, damn, we have a lot of racing left. Yeah. So obviously it felt good. I was like, okay, we got a little more points gap for Sunday, but I still have to be good. And then Sunday, all hell broke loose, and we all seen what happened in race 2, and that put me on the back foot in race 3. And I don't regret anything, as in like how hard I was riding. Like in race 3 I ended up crashing, but I had to win no matter what. Like, I was just trying to win. And but it wasn't going to make any difference really in the championship because Cam ended up winning it anyways. If he would have got second, I wouldn't have won it. He needed to get third. So no matter what, I don't regret crashing, like, in race 3, like I was just trying hard. Race 2, obviously, I wish that didn't happen on the last lap, but shit happens, and give it a go next year again.
Right.
So.
How does that, from the outside looking in, it seems like it seems like the buildup was real and it all came out at Jersey, but from the outside looking in, it kind of seemed like things were happening that were kind of not necessarily say shouldn't happen on a racetrack, but it wasn't as smooth as the rounds before and stuff like that. Do you feel like it was something that was building up and it just kind of happened at Jersey? And do you think that I guess in hindsight, you probably would look at things and handle things a little bit differently. So like on Saturday night, what was your Saturday night like as far as like, how do you prepare for the next day? Do you chill and be by yourself? Are you kind of working with the team to try to find some more, pace?
I'm always trying to find pace. Like even after the race on Saturday, I was just staring at my rear tire. I'm like, man, and I stare at that rear tire on the podium, Cameron and Josh's. And I'm like, man, my tire looks like shit. Like we gotta, even though I had pace at the end of this race, I'm like, man, we gotta figure out like my tire life has actually gone to hell. Like we gotta figure this out, So we're always continuing like to work. And then, after the race on Saturday, on racing, like on race weekends this year, it's like, I want to get the hell out of the track. Like, I just want to go back, and everybody knows me. I'm like, I'll either cook dinner at my Airbnb or I'll just go to Chipotle, just something fast and easy, and go back to the room and just watch a movie to try to get my mind off racing or whatever, because I don't want to overthink it as well. And then Saturday, it's hard to have a plan, Sunday, it's hard to have a plan in a race, when you're battling with other people, especially if you don't know what they're going to do or how they're going to ride or, I just try to race as hard as I can and race forward. Like that's always one thing for me is I try to race forward. Racers would know that meaning by racing forward. You just want to go as fast as you can. I don't have any strategy to slow up the pace. I just want to go as fast as I can at all times and keep my roll speed. And that's it. That's kind of how I've done my whole life. So it's hard to have a strategy when you're battling with other people, but you just want to get out in front and just go. So, obviously we went down, at the end of the day, it was my fault because I should have been more aware. I'm this guy behind. So obviously the guy behind needs to be more aware of what's going on and around him or around others. And I was just trying to do my normal turn, my normal speed, and shit happened. I ended up going down, hitting Josh, and it was a bummer. And then obviously we saw what happened after that. My emotions got the best of me, but people need to realize it was a lot of money on the line. It's a championship, like people get emotional out there, and do I wish I could take it back? Yeah, for sure. I wish that whole race didn't happen, but it did. And I didn't mean anything hurtful by it, but my emotions got the best of me. And, like I said, there was hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line, and I worked my whole life for this one moment. My whole life just came crashing down in one crash. So it was very frustrating on my end for sure.
So now do how are you going to, now that you've kind of experienced this firsthand, being in the position you're in, going into next season, having another opportunity, because obviously you're going to be with the attack team again next year, do you have a plan for next year other than just go out and ride your ass off and try to do as good as you can in every single event?
Yeah, I have. I've been thinking a lot about that, how to be, but you always try to be better, try to be, how are you going to race faster? What are you going to do in the off season to be better? I felt like people who know me always put in hard work, training wise and all that stuff, eating, diet, all that stuff. That's always going to be the same. There's a few turns like that I always struggle with, and it's on different tracks, but it's right turns that lead to a 180 left, and it's like at New Jersey, you have the wheelie hill.
Yep.
And then you have
the right and the left.
Yeah. For whatever reason, it's just me. I need to work on being patient more. I always make turns too much. How should I say it? Make it too much like a V sometimes in some of those cases where I'm rushing things too much. Like I'm very impatient. Even when I open the throttle, like I create too much slide too soon. Sometimes I got to roll off. So that was one of the things I learned in World Superbike was how butter smooth everything is over there. Like with the riders around me, everything is. You would think it is, man. You would think like those guys. How are they doing a lap time like they're doing, being that smooth and patient with the throttle with Pirellis, you know? But yeah, that's one thing I got to work on for next year. And I feel like if I clean up just me being patient, a little bit smoother in some areas, I'd be a good chunk better in some areas. Because there was some turns, even at World Superbike, like when I did World Superbike with Pirellis, and that's a whole nother can of worms, obviously. There was, on both tracks, there was like 2 turns that were nearly the same turn, like same style turn, that I was losing so much fucking time at. And I couldn't wrap my head around it because you would think like, oh man, I'm going to put on Pirellis, or we all knew it was going to be a big task going to World Superbike. Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit, but since we're on the World Superbike thing, we all thought like it was going to be a big task, right? Like we all knew. I didn't know the tracks, I didn't know the tires, everything like that. And we thought like, you know, we did one test at Podium Club, we threw on Pirellis and like, oh, we're a second and a half faster a lap. Sweet, we're good. No. You go there, it's like, the easiest way I can put it is imagine riding a particular way your whole entire life on a set of tires, and then everything you do you know how to go fast, you can't do that.
Wow.
Throw it out the
It's
window.
wrong.
It's wrong. It's like they're like, so as a team and myself and the whole package, we all struggled really bad. I mean, but we knew we were going to struggle, right? Like we knew we weren't going to light the world on fire just because of all the factors that are going. But it was more advanced than what we thought, for sure. Like in America, I'm going to give you just like an example. In America, you don't use that much brake pressure because the tires, the Dunlops, literally you could tuck them straight up and down. Like that's just how much grip we have in the front. So you use a little bit of, or at least how I ride. You grab the brakes, but not that much pressure. You release them, and then you just roll, right? And then you could crack the throttle immediately, at least me, and start a slide, and I can manipulate the slide and drive forward, right? There, in order for those guys, because I got all the Johnny Ray's data, Locatelli's data, like every session. I could see every session from those guys, or we can. They brake as hard. They had bigger brakes, too, on their bikes. They brake as hard as you can, as hard as you could fucking grab that lever. You grab it as hard as you can, but they don't do it too much lean angle. So they grab it all. They make up all the time on the brakes in a very short amount of distance. You release the brakes and you throw it on its side as fast as you can. But when you want to pick up the throttle, don't
Wait.
Just wait and wait. And then their throttle trace is so linear, but they do a lot of torque maps there. So it's different than how we do things in America. So we had to kind of reinvent the wheel, and not reinvent the wheel, but change a lot of stuff that I was doing and the bike. And it's weird because in America, I could start the slide early. I could crack the throttle early and just like kind of spin out of the turn, but drive forward. There, once you spin on the Pirellis, you lose such a big gap. It's weird. Like you can't gain that time back. And like the TC and the bike will just go with the tire friction. It just holds you back so much and you're not driving forward. So you lose like 0.3 just on opening the throttle. At least I was. Because I'm trying to like get on the gas, but then I spin and then you lose time immediately. Well, they're just like, but their bikes, like you look at the Yamaha there, it looks like a completely different motorcycle to ours. Like the ergonomics, the frame, they have bracing on their frame. They have a lot of different shit that, you know, we don't have, as in just like different style. Like there's more than one way to skin a cat, but different forks. We ended up trying their setting in Jerez, starting of Jerez, which was immediately better. But then we kind of started straying a little bit back to what we know geometry-wise in America, but with their fork and shock valving, which was night and day different than what we have here. So it was a big learning experience. Can I take anything away other than just being a little bit more smooth and bring it to America? On the Dunlops, no. But at least I know that I can change my style when it need be. Like you're always learning something. You're going to use that technique or something down the road at some point.
Right.
But it's night and day different than I could ever imagine.
So how did the opportunity to even go to World Superbike even happen? Like how the moons line up for you? Because did you ever think you'd end up racing in a World Superbike race at all?
So we knew Richard Samboli done a few wild cards before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was always like, I would do like a little like mention it in the beginning of the season, like, oh, it'd be cool to do World Superbike. It'd be cool to do World Superbike. And and he started, getting hard on a little bit for it throughout the season. And then in the middle of the season, we're like, let's see if we can get the funds to do this thing, And then I was like, well, we should do Estoril and Jerez because they're back to back. And they're like, yeah, let's try to work on it. And then Pirelli and some other key sponsors like Strack and helped us out to make it happen. Once they told me I was doing it, man, I was so stoked. When you're in that, when you're getting your ass kicked on the weekend, it's hard to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like when you, as a racer, you're like, man, fuck, I'm 20th place right now.
Right.
Miserable. But when you leave the day, at least in Jerez, knowing that if I would have dropped 4/10 in the race at the end of the race, I could have been battling for 10th place. You know what I mean? Like it was, and my race pace at the end was always pretty good, and it was always like a really like competitive times. But I'm still in 18th or whatever I was. It was cool when you leave the track. You're like, man, I just did World Superbike. And you could see yourself improving each session. Like, and Jerez was really good because Estoril was more of a struggle, and that was the first weekend. Jerez, every time we went on track, we went faster and faster, and that was really cool to see. And we closed the gap to the front, and that was like what we're looking for. Was like, I think in Estoril, at one point I was 3 seconds off of the top guy per lap, which is an eternity. And no matter how hard I ride, the harder I rode, the slower I went, because I would just spin more and the bike would just get sucked into the ground. And then I didn't get it. As a team, I couldn't comprehend it. And then Perez, after sitting on it for a week, I'm like, okay, man, I need to be smooth. I need to maximize these brakes. Like I never even, dude, I was getting callus on I don't get callus on my fingers from braking. I was 4-finger braking. 4-finger braking, and I have literally callus on my fingers from that weekend. Like, you don't do that in America. You just don't. So it was different, but it was cool. Like when we left Jerez, I'm like, fuck, we just did World Superbike. That was cool. But when you're in it and you're getting your ass kicked, it wasn't that cool.
Now you've been home for maybe a week or so now. I want to wrap up the end Jersey and just the the incident and stuff like that, and just your emotions as far as you I don't know if you mentioned when you found out if in the middle of the season you were going to get the wild cards for World Superbike, but there was a lot of media play on your gesture when you crashed in race 2 and stuff like that. It didn't turn out the way you wanted to. It's your first year on a factory team. Maybe at the beginning of the season, I don't know if you thought you'd be fighting for third place or even for the championship. Well, fighting for the championship, finishing third. In that moment, Jersey, end of race 3, I'm pretty sure you didn't want to hear anything from anybody. But how were you able to recharge or get yourself ready for World Superbike? How did you feel, towards the end? I mean, that got a lot of play on social media and stuff like that. And you got sanctioned and stuff like that. Nobody wants to be Dennis Rodman unless you're at a party.
I'll be real, and I'll start from the bottom. I'll tell you how it was. When it happened, so it wasn't me and Josh's first incident. You know what I mean? Me and Josh have been at Rocky Road for years. At least on the track, at least not off the track. Everything's been cool off the track. On the track, me and him had our differences a lot, and so did a lot of other riders. How should I word this? Basically, I was doing my same line. It was also last lap, and he has a Ducati, which you can really use the strengths of a Ducati. You could brake really, really deep, and he knows that he has as much power as he can. which is kudos to him because he uses it to perfection. I mean, he's won a lot of races that way, using his strengths and the bike strengths to win. And he tried to use those strengths in a wrong corner, which I wasn't expecting it, which basically means like I need to keep my roll speed to make a lap time, and he could easily slow the pace down. In the race, you could see when he leads, the pace drops like a half a second or a second, and I was just trying to move forward, and I hit his rear wheel a few times out there during the race, and then on that lap, I wasn't expecting him not to open the throttle or brake, whatever he did. I didn't expect him to just be parked there, and that was my bad because I should have been more aware. I should have been way more aware of my surroundings and what possibly could happen. Because, like I said, I'm just trying to race forward. I'm not it's just hard to race that way, when people try to use those strengths. And after crashing, I did that gesture. No, I didn't mean I was going to kill him, like everybody's saying. That's absolutely ridiculous. I'm no murderer. You know what I mean? I don't care how hard, how upset I get. I'm not going to murder anybody. I race motorcycles, and so I was just, you're through to me. You're done to me. Yeah, people think like, oh man, you're the second guy. Like, how did he make you crash? It's like, well, shit, dude. Like, there's a lot of other things that come into play, so a lot of people don't know the real story on what happened, and everybody could have their opinions, which is fine. I mean, that's fine. But I definitely went off social media for a while. I did an apology. I went off social. I'm still off social media. I haven't gone on social media since. It's honestly been nice, but I've been that way a few times in my career, just kind of an Instagram, Facebook, whatever, cleanse, But yeah, so after that, and then the race 3 crash, I don't regret race 3, that shit happens. I was just actually trying to ride as hard as I can, and Richard told me too, is like, you need to win this thing or crash, and that was it. And then what also upset me was before race 3, Heron was telling people, and it got back to me, that no matter what, he wasn't going to pass Cameron because he knew that if he passed Cameron, I would win the championship. Right. So he was actually, that actually literally got brought to my attention before race 3. So there was nothing I can do. And you could see that he was holding the pace up from SDK or whatever. And then he did a surge forward. So that actually really upset me more than me hitting him, in race 2, of him saying that. So that was a big bummer. I don't know how true it was, but I heard it from a few different sources, or said it to the media and it got to the wrong person. Whatever, it got back to me. Yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, I was the second guy in line and I should have been more aware. But moving forward to the week leading up to World Superbike, obviously I didn't have social media, so that really helped. But here and there, I would talk to people on the phone. It's like, oh man, your thing's really blowing up. And then, then I get the call from MotoAmerica, and I got sanctioned $3,000 for that. So, they had to do something. I think Josh got sanctioned too for flipping off SDK. As well. Right after, there's a photo of Josh flipping off SDK. I thought in my mind that doing this gesture was a lot better than flipping somebody off on live television. But people read into this a lot deeper than I could ever imagine. So, but yeah, leading up to World Superbike, I had to really figure out, I had to really not think about Jersey.
Right.
So I had to just think about World Superbike, and I went straight back to my training program. And then World Superbike hit, and then, I wanted to personally do better than I did. I should be happy what I accomplished there, even though the result wasn't good. But I think this week is barely starting to hit me, all the weekends that I really haven't really processed. This week is the first week where I'm like, fuck, I lost a championship. Because I couldn't really process it throughout the week leading up to World Superbike. So this week has been, just been a bummer. It's finally hitting me.
Now, is it weird? Weird may not be the right word, because when you came into the season, you were hoping for top 3, top 4, and you were fighting for the championship towards the end and the last round and stuff like that. I heard you say you're hard on yourself with training and just in general as far as racing and stuff like that, and maybe still too soon because World Superbike just happened. But do you pat yourself on the back? Do you sit here and if you watch F1 race, you only drink champagne if you win a championship? But have you taken a moment to say, I really did a lot this year, really incredible. I might not have ended the way I wanted to, but it's pretty dope what you did. From me looking on the outside.
I appreciate that. For me, and I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm a glass. What is it? Half full.
Half empty.
Not half full. Half empty. Sorry, half empty. That's always kind of been my personality a lot, which is really negative. But I have tried. I really do always try to think back. Oh man, we've succeeded, a lot this year. But sometimes I let the dark days get over me more than it should. Doom gloom sometimes. But I think that's what keeps me going still. Me being that hard on myself, which is, like I said, it's not healthy because even after World Superbike, I'm just fuck. Well, what can I do? Next year if I'm on the team. It's just it's hard for me to process things like that and really think back oh man, we had a good year. I tell myself we had a good year, but I don't completely feel it, because I didn't achieve the end goal, that's the big thing for me. But I really am trying to be more positive.
Well, see, that's one of the big things when we look at racers from our point of view. Obviously, your point of view, you're looking at as this is your job. This is what you do. You want to succeed. You want to do the best possible. Like any of us do with our own work and with our own lives. We want to do the best we can. But then when we look at it as fans, we look at you and we look at first, you came in this year and you were probably in the best shape that I've seen you in a long time, man. You were lean, you were ready to go. There was something in your swagger at the beginning of the year that you were this might be my only opportunity. I'm going to give it 150%. I'm going to come in as sharp as I can to do whatever I can. Because like you said at the beginning, nothing's guaranteed. There's no guarantee that you'll be there unless you perform a certain amount or you do this or do that. So you do have to kind of, as much as hard as you are on yourself, there are some positives in what happened this season that you got to look at. I mean, again, dude, you were the third person in line to get a ride.
No, that does bum me out. Say that.
You were the first chick they let go. You were the second chick. You were the torta that was left when the lights turned on.
Yeah, that still does bum me out quite a bit. Especially what I felt like I did in 23 on a Yamaha. But I need to look back because I did succeed quite a few times in the year, and this year was definitely super. I mean, I'm always locked in, but it was sauna every day, ice bath every day, riding motocross twice as much as I always do, putting in long motos, and just kind of taking it to the next level. And I was, this is my job. This is what you're supposed to do. But it was to the extreme on with the diet and just everything. And it's always watching footage between the races and doing studying or do something. It was every day, 24 hours, a day, or during the day when I'm awake, it was all just motorcycles. How am I going to be better? What am I going to be better? Oh, I can't eat this because this is not going to make me faster, or, fucking dying in my sauna because I usually struggle in heat races. So I've been doing a lot of like heat training and freezing
Jamaica
off in ice bath. It was just miserable. But I mean, like I said, all that paid off. It did. It really did. So, I just got to step it up one more next year.
Just 5 or 10 more minutes in the ice bath, 5 or 10 more minutes in the sauna.
That's so brutal.
So in the World Superbike side of things, because, this is where I want to get a lot of information from you, because we don't get the opportunity to speak to people that have been actually racing next to Top Rack and these other guys. We know the level of competition there is high. Is it the level of competition? Is the level of equipment better? What are all the differences that really make these guys in World Superbike that much
So
faster?
The first thing was immediately, not only the brakes, obviously, like their bikes and how they have it with their engine braking and their rear brake usage and how they apply the brakes. Dude, they could turn. I've never seen anybody turn a bike that, like, opening the throttle and continuing to turn their motorcycle and stand it up and go. Like, the turning on when they could flick it left to right was ungodly real. Like, I never even saw anybody ever do that. And it's like they can slow the bike down enough, and their bike with their engine braking, they could just go wham and just they could just turn. It was unreal on that side. And then just the brakes, man, like it's crazy on how much brakes like those guys can use. And that's where like Top Rack is really good at, obviously, is like brakes. But it wasn't the speed. So I was trying to carry more speed to the apex of the turn. Like, where that's where I make my time up, is like speed, roll speed here. It's like, no, they actually do such hard braking in such a short distance, but they end up, like, with their engine braking and everything, they end up stopping and then just fucking turning. And it's just like blew my mind away. And that's where they make up the time, like tenths, like 3 or 4 tenths just on the brakes, but not the roll speed to the apex. It was just brakes in a short amount of distance. And that was like unreal to me to see. And they have it figured out. I mean, their bikes, they have different frame concessions over there, so they could like modify their frames a little bit. At least all the Yamahas had that. You know, I had some of the Yamaha guys. I don't know how true it was. It was like Massimo, who's he kind of looks over all the electronics for all the Yamaha teams. Like, he kind of created the system that they're running. An Italian guy, and he was just like, "You on our frame, you go 1 second faster." I'm like, "Well, fuck, I'm not on your frame. Why would you tell me that?" You know, like, why would you tell me that? I'm not getting your frame. You know, so. I don't know how much of truth that was, but yeah, he's like, "Yeah, you want our frame? You go 1 second faster." I'm like, "Oh, fuck, thanks a lot."
So can you bring those kind of things over, like break-in into MotoAmerica?
Can't, dude. Like, you just can't do it on our tires.
Okay.
Everything you can't do it.
Can you bring a container of Dunlops and give them all Dunlop fronts and say, "Let me see you do that shit now"?
Dude, like, and that's the thing too, was like, so when Top Rack went to Coda, you know, and Top Rack went to Coda and everybody was shitting on his time, you know, like, basically it was like, holy shit, he just did a 206.7 or whatever it was, which is insanely fast. But that track suits a Pirelli more than you could ever imagine. Like, dude, like, which he maximizes his braking, obviously, but like, you can never do that on a Dunlop there. That's why he made up so much time just on a BMW first time at the track. It's like the braking, dude. You're probably making up just in braking sections in a second alone, you know? Wow. But yeah, no, but the Top Rack's super cool too. Like, he hung out multiple times in the garage and just hung out. He was super cool. He was one of the coolest dudes there. I mean, there was a good chunk of dudes over there in the pits that really welcoming. The Italians, not so much. You know, like, they're really when you're on track, everybody's
intense
on track too. They're
really Italian.
They're really animated on the bike, man. They're just always, you know, they're always. Dude, I would be. I won't name any names, but I would be on the track, right, like in practice, and I'm really cautious of like getting in people's way, right? Like, I'm aware of my surroundings. I could see people coming up. You know, you could feel them, you could see it, whatever. And I would move out of the way. 2 different guys, 2 different times. I would move out of the way completely, way before they even got to me. And they were way faster than me at some points. And they're still just fucking throw their hands up and all this. And I'm like, what was that for? And I end up apologizing. I'm like, well, why am I even apologizing?
Right.
Fuck, I didn't do anything wrong to you. I didn't even slow your lap up. I was way out of the way, you know? And so, yeah, other than some Italians just being really animated, everybody was really cool. Like, super cool. More than I could ever expect, actually.
So would you say it's the folks over there in the paddock are more warmer than in the MotoAmerica?
No, but believe it or not, dude, most people came over to me because of that damn video from me. I mean, when
You're
say,
famous, man.
Yeah, dude. When they say, I mean, dude, I don't know how many views that video hit. Somebody told me it was like 8 mil or even more.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people came up to me and were like, I'm like, no, no, no. Yeah, yeah. But no, they're pretty welcoming. MotoAmerica, everybody's pretty welcoming as well. Just because I've been in the pit so long, everybody kind of knows you already. But
Right.
the racers are really cool because we do, every weekend Michael Hill does like a paddock show deal. So every racer has to go on stage, or at least the World Superbike guys. And, you know, we're all just hanging out in the back and then we called on stage. But everybody was super cool. You know, spoke a lot. Like Iker Lecawan was super cool. Vandermark was really cool. The Brits are always cool. You know, so there's a good chunk of people that were really cool and kind. And then the whole paddock team too was super nice to us. I thought there was going to be definitely more intense.
Do you think that the facilities there, like compared to what we have here, you know, you only went to 2 races or 2 events. What are the facilities like? And like, is there a difference in like the overall show value, like what the way World Superbike puts on their events versus what we do here? Like, what do you think could be taken from there and brought here to make our events even better?
Dude, man, it's so different because we're all out of garages. Obviously, everybody's always out of garages, right? And most tracks we go to don't have garages. And Estoril, I mean, they gave us a half of a garage. So, I mean, literally, we have a space this big. I mean, literally, it was a half of a garage. Half of a garage. I mean, dude,
Wow.
we had enough space for the bike and a few mechanics. It was wild. But, I mean, I literally just lived in that garage, dude. Like, it was in that garage, but then they start setting up World Superbike teams. They start setting up on Tuesday before the weekend.
Wow.
Because they have all the big setups, like all the hospitality setups, proper hospitality. So, I mean, they're cooks there and everything. That was unbelievable. We can never do that in America because we're broke. You know, like everybody's broke. I mean, my team eats, I mean, nothing
Chick-fil-A.
team, but I mean, no, they don't even get, I mean, they eat literally cold cuts, you know, and shitty bread. So, I mean, there you have a proper chef and you have a barista, you know, and most of the big teams do, you know, but all the Yamaha teams kind of eat together. So we ate in the Yamaha hospitality and, you know, 20 different selections of food and different pastas and barista there, desserts. It was unreal. And they do breakfast, lunch, dinner there every day.
Wow.
And at least in Spain, which drove me crazy was even if I wanted to leave the track, I couldn't because things don't open until 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that like blew my mind. I'm just like, fuck, I don't know how people do it. I want to be laying in bed at 8:45, you know, so it was, I had to stay at the track at least until 7. They did dinner at the track at 7. So I ate dinner at the track. And they do, you know, breakfast super early in the morning there. It's just a different lifestyle, you know, like the times they eat to, you know, all of their time is spent at the track. Like when I went to Mazzano to go watch Garrett Gerloff in the beginning of the year, I mean, it drove me crazy being at the track that long. That dude was doing shit at the track at 9 o'clock at night that his team wanted him to do. Wow. At 9 o'clock at night. And they just spend all their time there. Like, it's crazy. Like, that's their home, you know, and then just go back to sleep. You know, it's wild. Usually I like to race and get the hell out of there, you know, and just turn my brain off.
Yeah. So you have things that you brought back that you might incorporate. As the Attack Yamaha as a whole, the guys that were able to work. I know Reese was out there cheerleading and supporting and stuff like that. Do you guys look to say, hey, we have an edge because we're able to have a couple of rounds in World Superbike and we learned a couple of things that we may be able to throw into MotoAmerica for next season?
Yeah, myself and the team too, especially the team, because they made, you know, the team they have a relationship with Yamaha in Italy, but it wasn't like, you know, close. Like they're not sharing notes all the time and stuff like that. Richard always kind of does his own thing. But just meshing that bond a little bit more with Yamaha over there and, you know, just showing face and hanging out with them, you know, and seeing how they do things, you know, with their motorcycle. And my team learned some stuff too. So we're going to try this off season to try to incorporate some of those things in testing and see if it works with our tracks and tires. So yeah, not only myself with like just trying different things here and there with riding, the team as well learned some stuff and they got a few tricks they want to try.
Gotcha. So you'll be in the paddock at 9:30 p.m.
No. He'd be asleep.
And dude, it's wild, bro. That drove me crazy. Yeah. So.
And now you were there. Obviously, now we had 2 Americans racing in Superbike. Like, what was the feeling, or did anybody say anything about the fact that, one, doing a round in America? Like, anybody mention anything, or any of the riders say that they would love to have a round in the U.S.?
Oh, dude, everybody wants to have a round, like a more proper World Superbike round Laguna. Like, everybody wants to go back to Laguna. Like, they love that place. Like, fuck, let's go to Laguna. We've been trying to go to Laguna. Like, they love America. Most of the races, they love America. They love to come, you know. It's not really, you don't really appreciate America until you're in a different country for a few weeks and you're like, fuck, there's nothing like the great U.S. Just everything is just so open. But yeah, the racers they want to come here badly.
Well, do they want to come here because it's America, or because when they get here, they can actually go out and nobody's going to bother them because 90% of the people will have no clue who they are?
Probably a little bit of both, dude. They just have room to breathe, dude. It's crazy. Yeah.
Because year before last, we had Bezecchi go to New York City for a day to do like an event. And he literally walked all around New York City with like 2 or 3 people.
Yeah, not one person recognized him.
Not one person was like, hey, you're Marco Bezecchi.
No.
And he was like,
so wild to me.
He went and ate pizza, like whatever.
It's crazy too. Like in towns like where we stayed at, you know, if you have a team shirt on or something like that, like it's like you're a fucking star.
Yeah.
You know, it is a different feel. Like they allow the fans to walk on the other side of the garage. Like it wasn't a fan walk for the riders, but they allow like the fans to see the garages and outside, you know, a certain amount of time throughout the day. And I was standing out there just like looking around, not doing autographs or anything because I didn't have to at the time. And literally a kid was like, hey, can I have a knee puck? And my leathers were hanging up kind of outside because I didn't have a proper dryer. So I was like hanging out in the sun. And I ripped it off my my suit and gave it to this kid. And the fans came unglued. They were just like, literally the kids were crying. Like it was crazy. Wow. But you don't get that in the U.S., man. Like the dedication of fans are unbelievable. But they are psycho too, because they're like, come over and like, can I have a helmet? You know, it's like, yeah, it's like, what do you no. Yeah, like no, they're aggressive about things too. But like the dedication from the fans, obviously you guys saw what Top Rack's fans, you know, after the Bulaga thing.
Yeah. He needed security like Marquez in Italy.
Yeah, dude, seriously. You just don't get that in the US, man.
So given the opportunity, would you go again?
Yeah, no, for sure I would go again, even though I'm agreeing to get my ass kicked right off the bat. You know what I mean? But it's weird because like there's only like, you know, when you see like when you're riding with those guys, it's like, man, everybody is good. Like everybody's really good there, but it's not like, holy shit, that dude has something that I've never seen before, other than Top Rack.
Right.
Other than Top Rack, when I see that dude ride, I'm like, whoa, like how did he do that? Like how did he make that bike turn so good? You know, but everybody, it's just on how they just learn to, you know, maximize their bikes with those tires and those tracks, man. And that's as easy as I could put it, dude. But like, yeah, riding around those guys, everybody is quick, but like they're not doing anything different. There's just 20 of Cameron Bobier's there, you know? So yeah.
20 Cameron Bobier's on different tires.
Yeah, on different tires, yeah. So,
and now what's your off season going to look like? Like, obviously, you know, you're going to be riding next year, but do you have any additional plans this year, this off season? Not just working out, but just other things you want to do this off season?
I got a Dainese event in Phoenix coming up.
Okay.
So that one, yeah. But honestly, for the next at least month, I'm actually looking forward to at least a few weeks of just doing. I've been still riding my bike. I still work out just because that's just like my daily routine, but. nothing crazy. I'm really just looking forward to like just chill. So I felt like I was on the road a lot this year, just with either testing or doing something. You know, it'd be cool just honestly just to hang out and just relax, because I feel like even throughout the season, like yes, I'm traveling, but when I'm home, it's all fucking motorcycles. Mm-hmm. So I want to kind of turn my brain off for the next few weeks still, and then get back to it. Obviously, the testing will start ramping up, and then doing some stuff with Yamaha and, you know, just little stuff like that. And I only could be home so long until I get the itch to get back on the road. So.
Nice. I think we're just about it, right, guys?
Yeah.
Is anything we missed that you might want to add, Bobby?
No, man. Thanks for having me, dude. Like you and Lewis, dude. It's cool to be on here, and it's cool to tell my side of the story. And you know, love me or hate me. I mean, we all make mistakes. You know what I mean? We're all human, and yeah, we'll try again next year for the championship.
Listen, man, there's like a million people that would love to be in your shoes right now. So
I'm just glad that you know how I feel when I get on the track with you.
The first session for sure, you're like, holy shit, I am a club racer. Yeah.
Were you feeling like Ricky Bobby when he came back from his big accident and he's like, is that the other riders?
Dude, it's crazy because it's like it wasn't just like I said, there would be like an S-drill, dude. Like I would overlay my data with like Locatelli, and I'm like, good here, good here, good here, good here, really bad here, like in one turn, and then good, really bad. And it was always like 2 turns that just like blew my whole lap time that I just couldn't get my head around. Myself and the team is wild.
Well, at least you got some knowledge, so the opportunity comes up next time or comes up again. Yeah. Like you might, at least you're not coming in at 0. You're coming in at maybe like a 4 or 5 versus just a complete 0.
Yeah, seriously. Well, thanks for having me, boys. I appreciate it, dude.
Hey, we appreciate the time. Love having you on here. Love hearing your side of the story. Love hearing your season overall. And we wish you the best this coming season, and obviously with everything else you do going forward. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
No doubt. My name is Rex45. It's the Be Forever Cool podcast. We got the real Louis Ortega. We got Bobby Fong in the building. Peace.
Peace.